Welcome to our kitchen, number 247. And today I am going solo again. Gordy will be back. I've got two things here. The main meal entree is going to be my version of Swiss steak, and not too much different than what I found in my cookbook. But we all like to change things once in a while, and you could change this one too. And then as a dessert, I'm going to make a lemon pudding cake. So I'm going to start by heating up a tablespoon or so of oil. Doesn't matter, vegetable oil, olive oil, your favorite. And I have, instead of round steak, I'm using cube steaks. Now, this kind of a story behind that was years ago, when I was first married. I quickly found out that my husband did not like grizzle, fat, grizzle and fat in like beef, because I'd watch him cut out on the steak or the pot roast or whatever. So to have some kind of a beef steak, we turned to cube steaks. Of course, they're not sirloin and not T-bones, but anyways, they are not ones that have the most less grizzle fat. So that worked. Fry them up for a while, and then I think all of a sudden they started getting tougher and not, and then kind of dry. So I think I stopped using cube steaks for quite a while. When I decided to go back to buying them, I said, well, let's see, can I do something else with them? And so this version of Swiss steak is what I've come up with. And most of the time, we're very happy with the tenderness, and of course it would be moist because we've got tomato sauce around it to serve with it. Occasionally you'll still get cube steaks. There's not much you can do, and they're going to be kind of tough. So starting out, I'm flouring my cube steaks. And I've seasoned the flour with salt and pepper and garlic powder. And I'm going to fry them, or brown them, I should say. And I have 4 here that I bought, but my fry pan's only going to take 3 of them anyways. Doesn't matter, really. You're cooking for your family. It's however number that you need. Okay. Put a little more oil. After they've browned on one side, and you turn them over, I'm going to place around them to cook our sliced onions. Doesn't matter what kind, it's your favorite onion. Of course, for me, it's a sweet onion, and I haven't yet bought any Vidalias, but I'm sure they're out there someplace. Now I'm going to put on the onions. While that's cooking some more and the onions are cooking down, I'm going to wash my hands. And try to come over here and start my lemon dessert. Okay, I'm going to need 3 eggs, and I've already separated them, and beat the egg whites stiff. Mine didn't come out as stiff as I would have liked, but it's always a crapshoot of, are they fresh enough, are they cold enough, are they, and sometimes, but anyways, they're in the refrigerator right now. So, the egg yolks here, I want to beat until light yellow. And if I go to the right once in a while, I'm just checking on the onions and the meat. To the egg yolks, I'm going to add some lemon rind. And you could get up to 2 tablespoons of grated lemon rind. I probably don't have quite that amount. And I've got 2 separate things going here. Okay, lemon juice. I want a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. And I had some squeezed, already store-bought lemon juice, about 1/4 cup. So I finished that up, and then fresh lemon juice, so I have the 1/2 cup. And 2 tablespoons of melted butter or margarine. And 1½ cups of milk. Okay, for this mixture, it is, first of all, beat 3 egg yolks to their lighter shade. And I added a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of melted butter or margarine, 2 tablespoons of grated lemon rind, and 1½ cups of milk. So that's beat together. this container here, I already have put together my dry ingredients. 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And this in this bowl. Okay, now I'm going to take my wet mixture and I'm going to pour it into the dry ingredients. That's mixed well. Now I have to go over to the refrigerator. I'll be back. I have my 3 egg whites that I beat. And I'm going to fold the egg whites into my lemon, milk, and dry ingredient mixture. A square baking pan, 8 or 9 inch. I'm going to pour this mixture into it. This goes into a 350-degree oven with a water bath. And it will bake for about 45 minutes. Hopefully there will be lemon pudding on the bottom. More of a cake on top. I like pudding cakes. You can make blueberry ones and chocolate ones. And they're usually quite easy to put together. And you have pudding on the bottom and cake on top. So I will leave that now. back to my Swiss steak. I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes. And a little half a cup of sweet vermouth or sweet cooking wine. I just find that vermouth, the sweet and the dry, not too expensive, and it fits with the things that I cook flavor-wise, what I need it for. This you'll want to simmer. Hopefully your cube steaks will tenderize. 45 minutes, an hour. The last thing I like to add is some honey. Many times for me, tomato sauce, canned tomatoes, I prefer them a little sweeter taste and not so much acidy flavor. So I'll add some honey as a sweetener. You may have other sweeteners you like to use. So according to taste, really. And more can be added later. So there's our my Swiss steak to simmer for a while, and I will serve them with noodles or some kind of pasta. So things are cooking now, and I'm going to have to break, and when we come back, I think we'll be at our table. Welcome back. We're at our table now. My two choices for today was, the first one was my version of Swiss steak, and the other was for dessert, lemon pudding cake. And the big thing about what I did differently maybe with the Swiss steak is I used a cube steak instead of round steak, hoping that it might be more tender the way I was cooking instead of just frying cube steaks. They tend to be dry and tough if you don't do something with them. So I breaded them and browned them and added some onion to the frying pan, and I cooked that down for a while, and then I poured in a can of diced tomatoes, and they were going to simmer. It's going to simmer for 45 minutes, an hour, checking on the cube steaks and hoping that they will get tender. I also added to that, of course, the breading or the flouring of the was seasoned flour, however you would like to season with. But I added some vermouth to maybe help the process of tenderizing. And also I like a little sweetness to my tomato sauces, and I added some honey. That's an optional thing. So this is, and I've served it over noodles. For dessert, my lemon pudding cake, It's a kind of a, well, if you know the process of how it cooks up, is there's pudding on the bottom, which is always intrigued me. I've also done blueberry and chocolate, and then a cake on top after it's baked. So you begin by beating the egg whites, try to getting them stiff as you can, and then you add that later to flour and sugar and lemon juice and lemon rind and milk, and fold it in carefully, and then just pour it into a baking dish. So it looks like, I can tell there's pudding on the bottom. So that was the choices for today. Now I have a little extra information that I found in a magazine. We're all familiar with probiotics, eating the yogurt and the fermented foods that help with keeping bacteria in the gut, in your gut, which we're finding out is more and more important. Well, there's also some foods that are called prebiotics, and prebiotics are ones that help the effectiveness of the probiotic. It makes them stronger and healthier, and whatever the process is. And I found that quite a few of those foods, there are carbohydrates really, are ones that I use in cooking or like as vegetables. So I've put a few samples here. I've got the honey that I use today. I've got bananas, and I've got the carrots I use all the time. Radishes I don't care that much for. Onions, and I use onions in the meat. And soybeans, I don't care about soybeans. Garlic, we all like to use garlic in some form or another. And asparagus, which I buy quite a bit, and it is now in season as we're taping this show. But you can get it all year round now. So those are the things that I most use when I cook and what we eat. And then some of the other things are certain greens, and it didn't list what greens they were. Certain artichokes, well, I don't do artichokes, in some cereals. But I've got at least a half of these that I use most of the time and we eat. So I thought it might be interesting to show those to you, and probably most of you also use or eat a lot of those choices. So if you would like any of these two recipes, you'd send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Dalton Community Television, 151 Park Avenue, Dalton, Mass. 01226. And that's all for today. And happy spring, because we've got some snow around, but it'll be gone in a couple of days. So have a good day.